Hey, this is Laura with Jot and Tittle Typewriters. We're going to take a look. We're just going to answer a question today. I'm going to show you some of these. So here's a 1961 Sterling Seafoam Green. We have a 70s Coronet Automatic 12. We have a 46 Royal Quiet Deluxe. I've just got these lined up here. And I'm going to stop here at the Coronet Automatic 12 because today we're going to talk about the question, try to answer the question, is there such a thing as a beginner typewriter? Well, no. A beginner can use any of these typewriters. However, I do recommend certain typewriters for beginners. And so every once in a while, I will say, hey, this is a great beginner typewriter. And I want you to know why I say that. So for those of you who are brand new to typewriters, which is a huge number of you, because if you're under the age of 40, there's about a 99% chance you have never touched a typewriter. So, and that can be intimidating. And you think, and those of us who are older than that think, well, it's really intuitive. But the TV is intuitive to my son and to little kids, but it's not intuitive to me. I still don't use our TV because I can turn it on, but I can't do anything else. And it's just what we're used to, what we're around, and how we think and process things. So when people come to me and they've never used a typewriter, I almost always refer them to something like this, a 60s and 70s Smith Corona, whether it's electric or manual, either one of them. And the reason I do that is, one, they're much more affordable, at least on our store. We make these really affordable typewriters. They're very sturdy, they're solid, and they're just easy to type on. And for some reason, it's just easier to use. And I don't know why, because as someone who grew up with typewriters, for me, this one is just as easy to use as this one or this one. But based on our experience, we have found that people get hung up on the littlest things, and that's okay. It's just not what their mind is used to at the beginning. So especially the electrics, I really like to recommend in particular for kids, because it has the most closest feel to a computer, and it's easy for smaller hands. Whereas something like the Royal Quiet Deluxe, or especially of these three, the Sterling is the hardest one to type on. And you think, well, how can it be hard to type on? It has to do with the pressure and the distance at which you have to press down on the key. So if you have really small hands like I do, 10-year-olds have hands bigger than I do. So I struggle to type on a Smith Corona Sterling. The Royal Quiet Deluxe would be next. I actually can do this one pretty well because the keys are actually closer together and I don't have to press down as far. But this one is the best because, one, I'm a fast typist and this can keep up with me, and two, I don't have to press down very hard, which is ideal for kids. And for those of you new to typewriters, because we're used to computers that you barely touch them and they type. And so it's not far-fetched to say you have to build up your muscles in your fingers, your muscle memory in your fingers to get used to the feel of typing on a typewriter. So something like this Smith Corona, this is a Coronet Automatic 12, is a great introductory typewriter into the typewriter world. And there's other electrics out there by Smith Corona. There's the Electra series. There's the Coronet series. I can't remember the Classic. Classic is manual, I think. Yeah, it's manual. So either way, I just want to explain why I do that. So again, it's price point. It's lower because you may get a typewriter and realize, not for me, and you haven't wasted a lot of money, versus you're going to spend 3 times the money on a Smith Corona Sterling because it's much more sought after. Like this one, the color is very sought after as well. And to get this and to realize that your fingers don't really fit well on it, it's not your thing, or you might get discouraged, or you might get, you know, worked up with all, you know, just trying to figure out how to use a typewriter. Whereas I'd rather you get one that's a lower price point. You kind of get used to the idea of using it, how things work, how to load ribbon, what happens when things stick and get stuck, and you know, work through all that frustrations first on something that's a little lower price point, and then make your way up when you have a comfort level where you're not intimidated by it. And for those of you who are even older than I am and you balk at that, let me just say that's not silly. There are things that can intimidate us. When I first brought out a typewriter to my 18-year-old son, he didn't even know that you were supposed to plug it in. He was afraid to touch the keys because he thought he was going to break it. He didn't know what a carriage was for. He didn't know where the paper went. It was intimidating to him. Now, when he asks me to go play on his PlayStation, I don't anymore because I stress out. I look at the controller and I'm like, this is not for me. And he laughs at me, and he's known in the last few years, don't even ask mom anymore because I tried it a few times and I didn't get it. So it just has to do with our frame of reference. And so that's why for those who are beginner to a typewriter or looking for an introduction into the typewriter world, I am always going to recommend an electric typewriter from Smith Corona from the 60s and 70s, or even the manuals. Those are still really easy to use as well. And so I do call them beginner typewriters, but they're not built to be a beginner typewriter. That I just choose to say that because even though it's great for people who are well versed in typewriters and love them, they're still going to enjoy this typewriter. Those of you who are not sure, you're new, I have just found in the 3 years we've been doing this, these are the least intimidating and the easiest to get to used to using than the other ones. And that is my personal opinion. It is not scientific based. It's just what we've experienced over the last 3 years. And so that is my opinion. That is my recommendation for those of you who are new. So I hope this helped you if you're looking at buying a typewriter, helped you to think about a few things. And then also visit our blog on our website at jotandtittletypewriters.com. And there's some also tips on what to look for when shopping for a typewriter. Thanks so much for watching. You all have a great day.